with 100% NutraSweet.
If Mr. Bloodhound used the same code in his letter, we'll break it in.
You're in duty, Bill. First of all,
pornography is something that is addictive. They call it the new drug. Pornography is no less addictive than the hardest drugs in the world. When the Rambam wrote in Halakha, biggest addiction a human being can have is to waste seed, is immorality. He was saying it as this is divine information. What happens with pornography is that it triggers a protein called Delta Fos B. Delta Fos B is one of the things that a person, in essence, gets pleasure from, but it's also one of the things that is connected to addiction.
Welcome to your brain on porn. Here are the basics. Porn overstimulated your brain, and your brain changed. You see, being hooked on porn is due to the same brain changes that occur with all addictions. These brain changes are behind your cravings. These brain changes keep you coming back to porn, even if you want to quit. The internet porn is what we call a super stimulus. What that means is that it's way beyond what we've ever encountered. A heavy porn user would view more hot babes or hot guys or hot whatever in one session than our ancestors would need in several lifetimes. So this can be considered another super stimulus. Our brains never evolved to handle heavy porn use like this, and unlike junk food, you can never get full. Here's another reason internet porn is so stimulating and so addictive. It takes advantage of an old program located in your primitive brain. The subconscious program is what got you started down the path of using porn. Internet porn is really far more stimulating than just images. It's really due to the endless novelty and the ability to click from one image to another. Another reason internet porn is so stimulating is that it can escalate rather quickly to more kinky or more shocking material. Number 2. Addictive personality is not a prerequisite for getting hooked on internet porn. Now, the standard model is that you have to have a predisposition. You have to be genetically inclined to get addicted. Well, this is definitely true, but what we found out is that many of the guys who were showing up on the site had never had any other addiction. They were just regular guys who started watching and got hooked. And what's interesting is once they got off a porn session, they returned to their, quote, normal selves.
So now what happens is a kid doesn't know right or left, 12, 13, 14 years old, gets a phone, goes on a computer, has free access, goes on the internet, starts looking at pornography, things he's never even imagined in his worst dreams, drug addiction, sex addiction, money addiction, all types of addictions. In essence, this particular protein is confused, thinking now after he saw that him seeing this immodesty, this pritzut, led to a good feeling, it now connects the brain to think that every time he sees this filth, it's gonna lead to good. Scientists confirm that it's an addiction no less than drugs. It all starts with yourself. Rabbi Nachman Breslov Alav Shalom says in Likutei Maharan, person is promiscuous with himself, eventually is promiscuous with the opposite sex. Promiscuous with the opposite sex, eventually same sex. It's not enough. He wants taboo. By himself, not enough. Watching a certain type of filth. So he watches some other filth. Eventually he wants to fulfill that filth. It all starts with where your eyes go. You don't start controlling yourself of what you're looking at, eventually you're going to become the next pedophile. People are addicted to pornography. This is what happens. Yirat Shamayim is the only thing that can help people stop. Masechet Yomah, page 29. It says the following: the thoughts of sin are worse than the sin itself. Once you get the junk into your mind, it's already worse than the sin itself. Why is this, the thought of the sin, worse than a sin? This doesn't make any sense. When the sin is in your mind, when it comes from pornography, that sin is literally in your mind at all times. You can think filth all the time. And the mind has no limitations like the body. That's how sick the sick mind is. The thoughts of sin are worse than the sin. You start thinking that everything is supposed to be that way. They start training their mind to unrealistic circumstances and makes themselves addicted. They in essence become much more vulnerable to do it again. Once you've watched pornography once or twice, that's it. You're much more vulnerable to press play again. You're much more vulnerable to be promiscuous. You're much more vulnerable to do bad things. To you it became the new normal. Gemara says after you make the same sin twice, Yetzirah tells you it's allowed. It's easier to repeat the sin when the sin is a thought. Even if he's trying to stop 2, 3, 4 days, he sees some billboard, back to it again. As if nothing happened, as if he didn't watch. It's very difficult to do tshuva. That's why the Zohar Kadosh says to do tshuva for wasting seed, you have to do it yourself. Hashem says, if you really want to do tshuva for it, you have to do it yourself. There's a stronger addiction to this than natural intimacy. When a person is addicted to wasting seed, pleasuring themselves in whatever form or another, this, Rabotai Yekarim, leads a person to become more addicted to this than even natural intimacy. Everything that the scientists recently discovered from different neurological experiments, psychological experiments, and so on, already is written in the Gemara. But simply said, the thoughts of sin are worse than the sin itself. This is why you have to protect your eyes no matter whether you're male or female. This also leads to the next point. This is why it's in every woman's best interest to never ever wear a wig. Never wear a wig no matter what your husband says. Because by wearing a wig, forget about the other argument that we've mentioned already for 4 years about immodesty and about the Avodah Zarah, and it's coming from India. Put that aside for a second. Every smart woman will never ever wear a wig. And the reason why, the second you put on a wig, you're giving your husband full permission to look at every woman. Why? They look just like you. They look just like you. Oh, I didn't know she's married. That's why the people that fight for wigs the most are guys. The Shaim. Biggest Shaim in the world. Woman having a wig gives you permission to look at women. It's not enough to be modest with a mitbachat. I need to be superstar. I need to look like the goyim. I need to be beautiful in the streets, not just beautiful for my husband. More. The guy wants more. The woman wants more. She wants to be more. She wants to not only be beautiful for her husband, she wants to be beautiful for people in the public, so she wants to wear a wig. Hashem says be beautiful for your husband, but she's not happy with that. She wants to be beautiful also for other people too, so she wants to wear a wig. The guy says, I want her beautiful all the time, and I want to also be able to look anywhere I want. It's not enough for me. The biggest advocates for wigs are guys, not women. Women will happily do tshuva for this most of the time. It's easier. But that's the problem. When you're addicted to filth, it only leads to wrong decisions. Someone who's a pogema breach should be very careful to protect themselves from dogs and anything dangerous, from weapons. Because he already has a category. He created himself so many demons that are going upstairs to Hashem, telling him, look at this sinner, this Rasha Merusha, that's killing your nation every day. He's killing 300 million of them every day. When someone puts themselves in danger, that's usually when they go to Hashem, and Hashem Erachem. You want to protect your wife? Protect your brit. When a person, heaven forbid, experiences nocturnal emission, meaning it went out without necessarily him doing it. It stems from klipa of lilis. Our name should be erased. I told you who that is already. Each one of these is about 30 of them. I'm just giving you the top picks. There's 80 pages. Nightmares. Anyone ever have nightmares? Now you know the source. Nightmares usually controlled by demons. Demons are created by that, by peccato. Many of them. Many of them. Likutei 2, Torah 5. For all you single guys looking for zivug, sometimes because of the sin of peccato, a person can actually lose his destined wife, his zivug. When he was brought to this world, right before his neshama went into the little baby, Hashem already decided who his zivug is going to be. You waste enough seed, you lower your spiritual standings enough, your zivug is going to go to an appropriate person, which is not you.
7 years of lectures. Seven months of film editing. Countless hours of study by 2 rabbis. Information we received over 3,000 years ago. All for this moment. Tikkun had greed. The movie.
There's a small member in your body. It shouldn't take over your whole life. If you satiate it, you're never going to have enough.
The sulfur plant, when it gets a hold of something, it does not let go.
Time for us to rectify what we have done.
Normal numbers should be somewhere around 20 million or higher.
You're never going to have control of it. If you start and only feed it when it's permissible, according to the Torah.
Pornography is as addictive as crack cocaine.
You're always going to be happy, including this world and the next. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.